to the track, the wall, makes the leap, and makes the catch! Amazing catch by Junior! He got it! A perfect game! 13 strikeouts! Pitching out towards straightaway center field, drifting out toward right center, shot at the wall, leaps up, and he makes the catch! Mike Trout with another spectacular grab! There is out number 2. Bonds hit play high. Hits it deep. It is out of here. 7:56. What a special moment for Barry Bonds. Swinging a long drive. Deep to right. Going. Goodbye. He has done it. He has changed the game of the night with one swing of his bat.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Champions Adjust, your favorite baseball podcast. I am Aaron Mashbitz, aka Jaxon Stone. This is Coach David
Bodzin, aka Coach David Bodzin.
aka Bodzin, aka Bods. Yeah, there we go.
Bods. I had a nickname in high school called the Bod. And the reason why is because I was like 6'2", $150, dripping wet. And so people would tell me that I am built like a Greek god because it was ironically not true. Because I was 150 pounds soaking wet.
Well, now you're getting after it.
Now I'm getting after it, man. So I haven't been to the gym this week because high schoolers are taking over the gym, man. I'm scared of them. That's not true. I've just been busy.
Yeah.
What do they say? The champions adjust?
A lot going on.
I haven't adjusted. I'm going to go to the gym at 7 a.m. tomorrow. You want to come with me?
At 7 a.m.?
Yeah.
Well, what's tomorrow? Wednesday?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be there actually.
Let's do it.
I'll be there actually at 7:15.
Okay, I'll meet you there at 7:15. What are we going to work on?
Because my class is over at 7.
Okay, great. Are we going to work out together?
Wednesday is a cardio day for me. But I'll watch you work out.
Okay, big deal.
From like 20 feet away when I'm on the elliptical.
See you at 7:15. All right.
Beautiful.
It's
beautiful.
A date.
But yes, this is episode 9 of season 2. Circle back to the intro, which was a beautiful thing that we just did there. But yeah, Champions Adjust podcast, season 2, episode 9. We're recording today on June 21st, 2022.
Can we clip us making a gym date? Just like put that on our Instagram.
I'll try.
Great.
Yes, absolutely. Coach Bodzin, what do we got today? What's on the agenda?
Well, there are a few things we want to talk about. We're going to talk about our first of 3 World Series, right? We did a minimum of 6 games. We ended up playing 6 games last weekend, and I mean, my God, brutal heat. Where we learned some lessons and taught some lessons. Mm-hmm. And we'll talk a little bit about that. Also, we're going to talk about...
We're going to mention one of our favorite guys that we like to follow and learn from.
And we're going to add him because he might respond.
He put out a tweet that I thought was really great because it perfectly aligns with one of the pillars on the Champions Adjust Mindset program.
A little bit later, too.
So we'll talk about that as well. But we'll go into the World Series right now. We'll discuss who our Champions Adjust
players of the week. 2 of them this week.
Yeah, we got some co-players of the week.
Co-players of the week. Okay. So what we're going to start with? We started with, Sunday was the first game, first day of the week.
Of the AAYBA World Series.
This gold team, we've talked about it before, but my gosh, these kids compete. They are the equivalent of a 13U AAA team playing at 14U AAA majors, and they just compete. So we'd have to go back and count how many one-run losses and wins we have. Mm-hmm. We have a lot more one-run losses than we do wins.
Right.
Our wins are usually by 2 or more. But my goodness gracious, when we lose, we barely lose against these 14U teams.
Yeah. It's always a battle or a fight to the end, which is what we appreciate most.
Yes. So Sunday, on 2 separate occasions, we were down going into the top half of the last inning, and on 2 separate occasions, we took the lead, and on 2 separate occasions, we got walked off on. Mm-hmm. 2 games in a row, and I mean, we can all talk about that's frustrating, right?
Yes.
For the kids, it's frustrating. For the coaches, it's frustrating. Mm-hmm. It's tough to differentiate your excitement for how they competed with your disappointment for losing those games.
Yeah.
You got anything on that?
Yeah, I do. I want to think about it for a second. Yeah, because the thing that matters the most is that we're rewarding effort, but we're also discussing how to learn from a game in which we lost, because there are wins and losses.
Right.
And each thing, even if you win, you can learn. Even when you lose, you definitely can learn. Mm-hmm. But the most important thing we're trying to address is that we're rewarding the effort. The effort is that you fought to the very last out, very last pitch, but then discussing what things throughout the game led to being at that close, right? Potentially some few things here and there that we could have done a little bit differently, improved on, got a better read, got a better jump, done this, done that, right? In the midst of the whole game that could have led to a better outcome, but it's not usually one play that ends a game. Sure. Because just because you got walked off, that is one play that ends the game, technically, but it didn't. The whole game isn't just about that one play. So we're trying to reward that effort, but then trying to dissect the game a little bit as to what can happen in the first and second inning that we can do that can lead us to have a better chance or have a bigger lead or not be down going into the last few innings.
It's like a snowflake effect or snowball effect, right? Something leads to another thing that leads to another thing that leads to another thing that results in something happening, right? You okay with talking about what happened on the way to the game on Tuesday? Because that's a good example.
What happened?
When you were at the light and somebody just...
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, so we're on our way to a game on Tuesday. We had one game, and somebody in front of Aaron was driving, and somebody in front of us at a red light, a truck was turning left, and these people are professionals, so they don't need anybody to back up. But the car in front of Aaron backed up and hit Aaron's car. Mm-hmm. It's very unfortunate. Then you start thinking, and anybody who's ever gotten into a car wreck or has anybody hit anybody or anything like that, you think about what went into it. What time we left my house, what time we left for lunch, how long we sat at lunch, how long we talked, how long we did that, and then when we left. Any of those things change by a plus minus minute, this does not happen. Right? It just happens. And you can look at all the different things. So then we go into getting walked off on. Well, you're down 5 going into the top of the last inning. You score 7 runs. Okay, why were we down 5 though? Mm-hmm. Let me go into that. And then we go into scoring those 7 runs. It could have been 8 or 9. Maybe we would win that game, right? Mm-hmm. Then you go into the bottom half and how that happens. Game 1, we went into the last inning up 1, and we got 2 quick outs. Mm-hmm. And then just a couple just little base hits here and there, mm-hmm. right? Not much you can do about that. Game 2, you're up 3. They end up scoring 4. Same idea. Get 2 outs, just a bunch of little, and actually we only got 1 out. And they just one little base hits here and there, right? Not a whole lot you can do about it. Yeah. So why were we in that situation? Could we have base run better? Could we have buttoned up some of the errors? I think that day we committed 7 errors as a team between both games. And lost by a combination of a combined score of 2. Mm-hmm. We lost 12-11 and 10-9 were the 2 scores, right? With 7 errors committed. And I think maybe 3 errors on their team.
Yeah, I mean, a majority of the runs were scored on solid hitting.
Yes.
The fields were a little bit tighter, so that played a portion into that. But we don't control the field conditions, so that's not really something that we need to discuss.
No.
But really, we're speaking about the execution of their process.
Yes.
Right, and how can that execution of that process be a little tighter, so that potentially we have a better outcome, because we can't control the outcome, just like I couldn't control that person hitting my car, but potentially you can do different things leading up to that will give you a better chance.
Absolutely.
So
that was
Sunday, yeah.
And then we get right back at it on Monday.
Oh, yeah.
Right? We got a 9 a.m. and a 1 p.m. on Monday, which means it's gets hot. So we had Caden Joe come pitch game 1, and we win that game 19-3. Mm-hmm. We go into that top half of the last inning, or bottom half, I can't remember which one it was, but we go into it up 19-1. And it's hard to stay focused when you're up 19-1. So, the wheels fall off a little bit. I don't want to say the wheels fall off. Focus was down for those 3 outs. We just had to get 3 outs. We got them, a couple runs scored, whatever. Then we go into the second game, and Steven Medrano, who had just was credited with the blown save, which was such a tough deal for him. Game 1 on Sunday, he came on the mound with a 1-run lead and got 2 quick outs, and then just gave up very small blooper hits to lose the game and get walked off on. And so, we talk about champions adjust mentality and what's next and flushing it and locking in. And he did. And he He gave up 2 hits, walked 1, struck out 3, and we won that game 7-1.
Beautiful. It was a good day of baseball.
Great. It was a good day of baseball. So we ended up out, getting walked off on twice on Sunday, and then outscoring our opponents 22-4 the next day. And then a big difference I saw was 7 errors day 1, 0 errors day 2. Just buttoned up defense. So then we go in as the 2 seed of the bottom bracket, the 6 seed overall, and we go up against a 14E AAA team, and we got a decent lead against them, and we lost that lead. We'll talk about that a little bit more because I made quite possibly the biggest blunder of my, actually I would say definitively the biggest blunder of my coaching career, and it had nothing to do with a win or loss on that Tuesday game. But we lost that game, so we went into the 3rd place game, and we won that game.
Yeah, that was a very good game. Very crisp win.
Talk to us about that win, because I was not there. I had baby appointments on Wednesday.
Yeah, we won that last game 9-1. Super against the team that previously walked us off on Sunday.
Game 2.
So it was a kind of a culmination of things. The game we played on Tuesday wasn't our best game of baseball, and then so that was a response from Tuesday as well, and then Wednesday's game was also a response from getting walked off on a team. So 2 games combined gave the boys, I think, a little bit extra motivation, a little bit oomph. They responded in the way that we'd hoped they would, with some fire, with some energy, with some passion. We decided to put JP on the bump. He hadn't pitched.
Malone.
He hadn't pitched yet in the World Series.
Hadn't pitched in a while.
And he threw an absolutely excellent game.
Jim.
His best game of the season. The best I've seen him command both fastball and changeup very, very effectively. He got himself into a little bit of a jam in the last inning, but his father, who also helps us coach, Patrick, was sitting right next to me, and we had a discussion there that we wanted to see JP in limit work through this jam that was happening in the last inning he was going to pitch, and he worked through it brilliantly, calm, cool, collected demeanor, and it was a really cool thing to see. The defense was sharp. They were playing behind him. Balls were in play. He was getting strikeout. It was and then we had some timely hitting. Clearly, we scored 9, and it was just a well played ball game and a beautiful response from Tuesday and from Sunday as well.
Against a good hitting team.
Very good.
That team consistently was coming back from behind. And JP pitched a Jim, and then our other lefty, Vinny Weber, came on.
Also threw the best he's thrown all year in 1 inning.
Got an out, hit a guy probably on purpose to get a runner on first, and then got a game-ending double play.
That's right.
To get 3rd place at that bracket. So shout out to both of you guys. Awesome job. So my coaching mistake, will that tie into to our guest tweet into our pillar 2? Or should we talk about that first?
Let's just go into it right now, because we're about holding ourselves accountable as coaches. We are not perfect.
No.
We make mistakes. We're very early in our coaching career.
Yes.
We want to be responsible and hold ownership for ourselves so that we can embody that for the people that we teach so they can do the same thing. And then we want to come clean about the mistakes we make so everything's out in the open in a public forum
Which
for
I
discussion.
did immediately that night. We'll just get into it. Okay, so I'm not perfect, right? And I'm always happy to admit my mistakes when it's brought to mind. You know what? I was wrong. I'm sorry. So what happened on Tuesday is we put Rhett Kincaid, who's a strike thrower for our Navy team, a strike thrower. He's also a catcher, a middle infielder, and outfielder. He's a utility player, Swiss Army knife of athleticism. And we had him come play, and we sought him to start that game. We thought, or at least this is my mind was, hey, you've worked your butt off all season. Come be the dude for this team. Come pitch. You deserve it. Come pitch. And because he did throw 26 pitches on Saturday for Navy, and because he did catch on Monday for Gold, I had in my mind a 60 pitch limit, maybe 70. If the situation accounted for it, maybe let him throw 70. But then I made a mistake. I was not keeping pitch count. Usually there's somebody in the dugout keeping pitch count. On this day, the person who usually keeps it had to leave early. And I did not pick up that slack. And I basically, every single time Rhett came out, How you feeling? How's your arm feeling? You feeling good? Yep. Okay, great. Everybody's feeling great. Very tough situation. We went into the bottom half of what could have been the last inning with 5 minutes left. They quick pitched us. They got out of the inning, so we had to go throw another inning, and we're up by 4. I think we're up by 4 at that point. And I was like, all right, Rhett, well, my mind, from the start of the day, you're the dude. Be the dude. You're feeling okay? Be the dude. Go do it. Gets first 2 outs, and then gives up a little dinky base hit, and then he walks 3. First he walks 2. I go out and talk to him. How are you feeling? Again, I have not looked at the pitch count. I'm going purely on feel here, which was a mistake on my part. But I was going purely on field, and he just has a smile on his face. Coach, I'm doing okay. I can get this. All right, cool. Just throw strikes. Just throw it down the middle. Let him hit. Our defense has your back. Okay? He walked another guy. So now 2 runs are scored because of walks. So I pull him. And I put Seth Timmons in, who's just an automatic strike thrower for us, right? You put Seth Timmons up there and put him in a pressure situation, he's going to throw strikes. Then I go back to the dugout. Obviously, Rhett's pretty upset with himself. He couldn't finish the game. I'm a little bummed because I probably should have pulled him earlier, and I knew that already. I probably shouldn't have let him start the inning. And then I look at the pitch count. For the first time all day, I look at the pitch count. And the number made me sick to my stomach. The number said 115 pitches. And immediately, I put down my phone, I looked at Aaron, and I said, I effed up. I said, I'm sick to my stomach, I effed up. How can I do this to a kid? How can I allow myself to do this? How did I not know this pitch count? How can I let a kid throw that many pitches? How did I not look at this? I'm a 34-year-old coach in the dugout with a 13-year-old busting his ass off on the mound. How am I not being the adult right now? 21 years as senior. I'm the one that's supposed to be responsible for this, not him. I'm asking him how he's feeling. He's constantly saying he feels okay, but, I messed up badly. Seth did his job. He threw strikes. They just got a couple hits, knowing that we didn't have to lose in the game. I put that squarely on my shoulders after the game. I took Rhett to the mound, and I told him what I had found out. You threw way too many pitches, and that's my fault, Rhett. I said, Rhett, I am so sorry. So sorry for putting you in that situation. You should not have been in that situation. You should not have been in the mound. You should not have been doing that. I screwed up royally, and I apologize to you for doing so. I called David Lovell, told him what had happened, got Rhett's father's number, called him, said, hey, everything you're feeling about me right now, I guarantee you I feel worse about it, about myself. I am a pitch count conscious, arm health conscious person. You know that about me. That's first things first is arm health. Second thing second is competing. Arm health over everything. And I did not embody this. And to Aaron's credit, I basically cried on his shoulder. No actual tears. I was just so upset with myself the entire way back. Barely spoke. Texting him, calling him in. I can't believe I did this. Called Rhett's father. Who, to his credit, was willing to take my call and, rightfully so, very upset with me for putting his son's arm health in danger. I immediately wrote a recovery plan, and we watched his, arm recovery for the next 3 days very closely, which, beneficial. We had practices, we could do that. But my gosh, that was the lowest of points in my entire coaching career right there. Immediately figured out a way to never let that happen again. Talked to whoever wanted to talk to me, practice next day. I got like 2 hours of sleep. I was so exhausted. I would fall asleep for 45 minutes. I would wake up just mother effing myself again for another 3 hours. And I'd fall asleep for another 45 minutes. Then I'd wake up and mother effing myself for 2 hours. Then I fell asleep for 30 minutes. Then I woke up and it was time to go. Time to work. So anyway, I just word vomited this whole situation, right? Because this is what's been going through my mind. I am at peace with it now because at the end of the day, everybody makes mistakes, and we are who we are based on how we respond to that. And I talked to the kids who asked me about it. I said, hey, when you make an error, what do? We admit our mistakes, we move forward and figure out how to get better. That's me too. I made an error. I will never let this happen again. I learned a life lesson at 34. I learned a coaching lesson at 34. The person we're about to quote a tweet from, a couple other people who we have quoted tweets from, whom all of whom I've met or know, would proverbially punch me in the face for doing what I did, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I know that. And then you also look at the fact that there's a lot of coaches out there who do that every weekend on purpose.
Yeah, but that's not part of our discussion.
And but that's where we come into. We realize that we made a mistake.
Yeah.
We realize that we are health conscious, and we realize that we can never let this happen again. I made a mistake. I owned it. I still own it. I will never let that happen again. But I wanted to talk about it publicly to one, own my mistake, right, on a public platform.
Yeah, and if other coaches watch it, right, hopefully we can encourage you to also be aware of what's happening,
right,
and not let your kids do that regularly.
Right. And then that's number two is any coaches who are watching or listening, and any youth athletes who are watching or listening, realize that everybody makes mistakes. It's not the end of the world. Own your mistake. Talk to who you need to talk to. Within 3 hours of my mistake, I was on the phone with the father. I had already spoken with the kid, and I had already spoken with a couple other people who are pertinent to the situation. Within 3 hours, it's very important in life, as a person or in sports as an athlete or as a coach, to realize that you're not perfect and give yourself grace, but also own the mistakes that you make and learn from them.
Yep.
And I think that's the main reason I wanted to talk about it here.
Yeah. That's it. That's it right there.
Yeah.
Right. With Wolfpack Baseball, we try to definitely hold ourselves to a higher standard, right? Where we do things a little bit differently. It's best. We don't care what other people are doing. We use this platform to maybe give them some insight or some information that they haven't yet thought about. But the same, if we aren't embodying the same traits that we want to teach our kids, then we're not doing anything.
Right.
And anytime that we make a mistake, we own it. If I get someone caught stealing, if I get someone picked off, if I send them and they get thrown out, if I move them into a position and the ball gets hit somewhere else, okay, if I teach them the wrong thing, it's on me. It's not on them, because the boys are so competitive and so fiery, they will take it all on themselves.
Yes.
Which one is a good quality to have for becoming an elite performer, but no one does anything great alone, and sometimes it's okay to link arms and say, I got you, this is on me, you can let this one go, pay no attention to it, all of that stuff. And so that's why we're talking about it. Not to keep bringing up things that have happened in the past, because it is over, it's been dealt with, it's handled.
Yes.
Rhett's father is very kind and compassionate and understanding.
Very.
So is Rhett. And so those things are really quite a blessing. And that's what that is.
That was a week ago today.
It was a week ago today. And Rhett will play in this next coming World Series.
Yep.
He will do all of the things he does well. Catch, play middle infield, pitch, hit.
And it'll be my opportunity to earn back trust.
And we will always make sure in the dugout we have pitch count. That can be on me. So I'll take blame for some of it as well, because I'm a coach on the team as well.
Yeah.
And so it's a collective effort. David said everything that I would have said as well. But we're a team, we're a unit, we're a coaching staff. And so it's not on one person, it's on all of us. Coach Lovell was not there, so it's not on him. No. He was not present. I was there, I was in the dugout, I was watching the game, I was coaching. So it's on me as well. But David just happened to handle it and take the blunt of it. And so he did the things he needed to do for us as a coaching staff. So that's what we're saying about that. And then in relation to that, I think an important tweet that we can discuss, and it aligns perfectly with the Champions Adjust pillar and exactly what we're talking about, is from Tom House. If you don't follow Champions Adjust on Twitter, you should. If you don't follow Tom House on Twitter, you absolutely 100%
Talk about
should.
Tom House for a second.
Talk about Tom
pitching,
House
absolute pitching guru. He's worked with some of the best quarterbacks and baseball players, including Drew Brees, including Tom Brady, including Nolan Ryan in his career. He's a pitching mechanics guru, and he's a phenomenal follow on Twitter. Mm-hmm. If you don't right now, you should. Tom, we will tweet at you as well, and I know you have a great social media presence. You and I had met back in 2013. You and I met and had good conversations. And in fact, one of my dad's best friends, produced Tom House's videos.
Nice.
Back in the day. So they know each other real well. But yeah, that's Tom House.
Tom House's Twitter bio says, "I coach kids of all ages to be their own GOAT." Love that. So his tweet, it's actually from June 21st, 2022, which is today. You're hearing this on Thursday, so it's a few days past, but you'll still be able to find it. It says, "The most important pitch is the next pitch. This is the most important life lesson I learned as a pitcher. I haven't pitched in 50 years. I say this to myself every day when I lose focus, get anxious, or get in my own head. The most important pitch is the next pitch." So basically what we say is one pitch at a time. It's the exact same thing. Or what we say is, what's part of the mindset program is WIN, which stands for what's important now, which is the next pitch or the pitch. And so it's important to understand that because it forces you, as Tom says right here, to put your feet on the floor or the baseball field, wherever you are, feel the moment and prioritize this moment above all else because there's nothing else but this moment. You can't, quote unquote, win anything in life unless you're in the present moment, focusing on what's important now, and you're focusing on one pitch at a time or the next pitch. And that can be framed for anything in life, right? For a mistake, for whatever you do in your life. Okay, the next pitch is the most important pitch because one little decision, one little improvement can change the whole trajectory of your career. And that can be in a good and a bad way, right? So you have to keep that in mind as well. But speaking in a positive direction, right? The next pitch, one pitch at a time, one moment at a time. How are you stitching that together? How are you planting your feet in the ground, being in the present moment, and directly focusing on what's important now? And I think that's very important.
Love it.
So.
Love it.
So thanks, Tom House. So far on this pod, we did one discussing pillar number 1 of the Champions Adjust Mindset program. Pillar number 1 was do the work. Okay. Pillar number 2 is a combination of 2 things. It's internal landscape awareness, which is basically being aware of how you think and speak to yourself, right? So how are you talking to yourself in pressure situations? How are you talking to yourself before an at-bat, after an error? How are you talking to yourself when you do something well? Are you positively reinforcing yourself? Okay, and being aware of how you think and speak to yourself allows you to recognize what's happening and then be able to put that on the right path, the right trajectory to saying things that are positive and credible to yourself, because that's really how you build bulletproof confidence, right? Shaky confidence is when you build it on previous successes. What if you have a bad game? What if you have a good game? Your confidence is going to be up and down. It's going to be shaky. But if you want confidence that's anti-fragile, that's never going to leave you, that you can guarantee you'll have every time you step on the field, whether practice or a game, you build it off how you talk to yourself. And the way you do that is you first recognize how you're talking to yourself when you start to lose focus, when you start to get out of the present moment, and then you reframe it in a positive, credible way to build up your confidence no matter what the situation is. And that solely depends on being in the present moment and understanding what's important now. So that's pillar number 2. We'll continue to go down the list. There's 4 pillars, but those are the first 2 of do the work and number 2, internal landscape awareness, or what's important now. So that's what we have to say about that, and we'll cover 3 and 4 on some later pods.
Great. Love it.
But just so you know, 3 is optimism and 4 is be about it.
And we'll dive more into these 2.
And we'll discuss them, deeply. From a tweet or a game situation or something that comes up that we can relate it to.
Absolutely.
But that's how I feel about that. And let's end this week's episode on probably our new favorite segment. Drum roll, please. If you're at home, do it now.
And this week's Champion Adjust Player of the Week. Woo! So, similar to last week, we're going to have a little countdown from 4. And we have 5 players, but it's going to be 4 spots because we do have a player 1 and a player A.
Yeah,
So co-players of the week. So number 4.
I would be, actually, before you start, I would be very interested to see if you could guess who they are based on the information we gave you earlier.
Okay.
So, whatever. If you had a guess and you're listening to it, drop a comment right now, and then you'll finish the episode and you'll see if you got it right. Here we go.
We didn't talk about everybody, though, that's on this list.
Well, we mentioned a few names.
We're gonna. All right, number 4 is going to be J.P. Malone. Number 4.
J.P. Malone.
My God, this kid, he's one of the better center fielders I've seen play the game. Mm-hmm. Him and Nate Cisneros, who does a lot of playing with us on Navy and Gold, I mean, both of these guys, it's almost like they can see the ball off the bat before the pitch is thrown.
It's incredible.
They track down baseballs better than any 13-year-old I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And it's fun to watch. JP is a left-hander throwing and hitting.
Just been constantly improving.
Bat has just come along this season. Mm-hmm. And then the one thing early in the season he struggled with was throwing strikes. One day he did throw a ton of strikes, and they just happened to be hitting him, which was one of the better outings he had.
Yeah.
So Coach Aaron really wanted to give him his opportunity. He did get hurt a couple weeks ago. We talked about how he got that game-winning hit against the Canes, and he strained his calf muscle, I think is what ended up happening. Yeah. So, he came back strong, and he shut down a team that we had just lost to. And not only that, but he came back and, deep in his pitch count, he competed. Mm-hmm. And he finished strong in the inning that he had after getting some trouble. So, congrats, JP, number 4 on our list. It's awesome. Number 3 on our list, again, we're going to go with Lincoln Boyles.
Yeah.
We're going to call him Leadership Link.
Leadership Link.
I mean, just a phenomenal shortstop, middle infielder. He's a phenomenal outfielder. Great at bats. He's our leadoff hitter. I think one of the games I was counting, he saw 13 pitches in his first 2 at bats, both outs. He struck out and he flew out on 13 pitches, which is exactly what you wanted out of a leadoff guy, right? Mm-hmm. Of course, you want your leadoff guy to get on base. But if your leadoff guy is not getting, which he did that game, he went 0 for 2 with a walk. If you're not going to get on base, but you're going to see 18 to 20 pitches, you're doing your job. So Leadership Link, number 3. Number 2, I can't say enough about the guy, is Sloan White. Not only has his bat really come along, he missed a month and almost helped his bat. His timing has just been phenomenal and impeccable. This kid has never really had to run the bases because he's always been a catcher. Mm-hmm. This year we're making him run the bases, so he's learning. Mm-hmm. And he's become a pretty good base runner. But most of all, he's a catcher. And we had him catch 4 of 6 games in the heat of the summer. Yeah. And it's not an easy thing to do. So Sloan,
just credit for the energy and the effort. That's all it is.
Yeah, just awesome. And then our number 1, our co-champions. We're gonna go with 2 players. We're gonna say the Navy player who came to play with us first, Griffin Savello, who I don't think we've talked about enough on this podcast. He's the kind of kid where, hey, Griff, we have a game at 8 a.m. in Dallas and a game at 8 p.m. in Seattle, Washington. And he's like, okay, coach, I'll be at both. He'll figure it out. The kid just wants to play. Example given, Sunday, Navy was in the semifinals on a day where it was about 115 degrees on the field. And he was on the field, and he pitched, and they lost the game. And that was a semifinal Sunday. They got in the car. They drove 35 minutes to be at game 2 Sunday for us. And he pitched in that game too. Mm-hmm. He only threw 13 pitches in game 1. So we gave him 60 pitches in game 2. And he just, talk about just a kid who just wants to play the game. Mm-hmm. That's all he wants to do. He caught a game the next day. He just wants to play baseball.
Played third base, played second base.
Third base, second base. He made an error at third base. So he told me, Coach, I want to play more third base so I can redeem myself and play phenomenal. Second base, phenomenal. He's also a fantastic shortstop and outfielder. Catcher, his baseball IQ is off the charts. His strike throwing, he throws 83% strikes. And one thing we've wanted all season for him to do is just get at bats, and he started to hit the ball. Mm-hmm. Co-champion Adjust Player of the Week, Griffin Savello, your performance be damned. It's just your effort and your desire to get better and play the game of baseball is just never. I've known you for 3 years, and it never ceased to amaze me.
This is Griffin Savello in a nutshell. Practice on Thursday, 2 days before we have a World Series, where we have games Saturday, Sunday, because our other team had a tournament. And then the rest of the tournament going through Wednesday. So Griff's told me, he goes, Coach, I get to play Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. It's the greatest day of my life.
And then he came to practice Wednesday and Thursday after that.
That's him in a nutshell. I don't think I've met a person who loves the game of baseball more.
And he was going to baseball camp during that.
And he's going to baseball camp.
Like, my God.
We're just rewarding effort. We're rewarding energy, and that's all it is.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I love coaching you, Griff. Keep it up. Can't wait to see what the future holds for you. And then our other co-champ player of the week, he was on our finalist league last week. We've talked about him a lot on this podcast. But it's the same idea. Steven Madrano.
Just a real gritty competitor.
Yes. I cannot say enough about Steven Madrano. I coach him and his brother Jaxon a lot in private lessons, as well as just over the last year, one-on-one, mental and just as a team. They're both great competitors. Very, very different baseball players. Could not be more different baseball players. But Steven, it's not easy to lose 2 games on walk-offs out of 3 games you pitch. In that third game, you come in and you just want the ball again and you just shut it down. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, finding ways to get on base.
Always.
He's constantly our 2 or 3 hole. Like his brother is constantly our 3, 4, or 5 hole. Mm-hmm. When the Madrano brothers are just absolute beasts of baseball players, and I can't wait to see what they do. But Steven deserves the honor as co-champion to Just Player of the Week because he tasted failure big time. And the very next day, he said, "So what?" and he pitched a gem.
And a lot of guys, but him specifically, as we're talking about him right now, handles pressure the way is the best for you, right? You see pressure as a privilege. Mm-hmm. He's like, Coach, I want the ball in this situation. Down 1, up 1. I want to be hitting up 1, down 1. Give me a tight spot. Give me that pressure. Because pressure is a good thing if you use it that way, right? You see it as, this is important and I care about it. Specifically talking about the baseball field, right? Outside of life, pressure is a different thing. If you want to discuss it, we can. But specifically on the baseball field, pressure is a privilege because you have this feeling that something is important and that you care. And if you always want the ball in that situation, doesn't mean you're going to succeed every time. Absolutely not. But you continually want to show up in those spots, man, you're going to be a fiery, fierce, gritty guy that everyone wants to play with, everyone wants to be around, every coach wants to coach, all of those things. And seeing Steven play with us last year with our team in the World Series and who he's developed, same with his brother, who they've both developed to be as baseball players, is really quite beautiful.
Yes. So it's what makes coaching this age group so much fun. Mm-hmm. They're starting to figure out who they are as human beings. And, again, good job, Steven and Griffin, Champions of Just Coach, Players of the Week.
Yeah.
Proud of you both. Can't wait to see what this next World Series holds, which begins on Saturday. So next
week. A couple days after you listen to this, we'll be
back on the field.
We'll be back rolling, and then
we'll do another episode.
Should get another one in unless we're playing games next week, Monday during the week. But then we go off to Florida, and we should have time to film at least
while
one
we're there
in Florida.
Yeah, I'm going to have a very shortened trip. I'm only going for 3 nights.
So we may be able to get one in, we may not. But episode 10 will definitely be post-Florida. Maybe one before, so we might have a 10 in there. And then we'll definitely have either 10 or 11 post-Florida to recap both World Series, kind of the whole season, and then let you guys know what we have planned for this summer, which we do have some good stuff planned.
And to that point, everybody who's listening, if you have connections with somebody who you think would be a good guest for this podcast, if you, hey, I know somebody who embodies what we discuss in this podcast, give us a shout.
In or outside of baseball.
Yep, in or outside of baseball, absolutely. DM us, call us, text us, just give us a shout. Let us know. Put us in contact with them. We definitely want to expand our horizons and bring more guests on this podcast.
Yeah, we want to do a kind of a summer guest series.
Yes.
Leading up to October, which we'll definitely do postseason episodes again because those are very popular last season. So we'd like to do a guest series in the summer, August, September type thing. Get a couple people in there and then do our postseason episodes, finishing out the year, finishing out season 2. Take a few break in probably November, December, get some other stuff planned. We have exciting stuff in the works with our program and with things we're trying to expand and with merchandise coming out. And then we'll be back again for season 3 in January.
Which will have a Mark Bodzin guest appearance at some point in season 3.
Yeah, that's right.
So keep on watching, keep on listening, and we'll get little baby Mark, who is due in 2 months. So
hell yeah, baby! Congrats. All right, Bods. Thanks for listening. Appreciate you.
That was awkward.
Share this with a friend. Lots of love. See you guys next time.
Bye. Mwah.